YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. After the divisional round of the playoffs heading into conference championship week, I got my playoff power rankings. We're ranking 8 teams. So the 4 teams that were just eliminated and the 4 remaining teams, we're ranking them from 8 to 1 based on how I feel as playoff teams here. So excited to do this. Excited for our rest of our playoff coverage, and we have off-season content as well. There's plenty on the channel. And definitely plenty more to come here covering the draft, free agency, off-season trades, everything. So join us, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. A lot going on our Twitter. You're missing out if you're not following it. We got polls up for you guys get to vote for who wins the divisional or the conference championship games, and that'll be included in the weekly picks video, of course. And a lot of updates, made some coach predictions. Going to make a video on that, too. I just got to get all 8 predictions ready here. But coming in at number 8, it's going to be the Tennessee Titans here after their disappointing loss against the Bengals. So they finished 8 on the year, and they were a 1 seed, had home field advantage. It's tough, too, because I actually think the Titans have the best defense in football. Debatable, but I love that defense. It's tough ranking them 8, but just so sloppy, and that offense just didn't have enough, once again, in a different atmosphere. So good for the regular season, but disappointing in the playoff atmosphere. Talked about in the recap. The play calling wasn't bad the whole game, but it was bad. It was actually good most of the game, but it was bad very bad in very important spots. So sloppy play calling and just an execution problem in some key moments. I mean, you can't start the game with an interception. You can't have an interception on your best drive of the game in the red zone, and you can't have an interception at the end there to pretty much lose the game. Defense definitely did their part. Tied NFL record for sacks. But that offense just couldn't get anything going. So they're going to finish at 8. Disappointing end of the year for them. They had a really good regular season. 7's going to be the Bucs. Almost a ridiculous comeback. Towards the end of that game, the Bucs actually had a bit of both offense and defense. And the defense mainly because the Rams were running the clock and and they had that botched snap and Akers fumble. I mean, credit to the Bucs defense for the Akers fumbles and the Cooper Kupp fumble, but yeah, things were kind of just going their way. But offensively, they started to pick it up a little bit. Wish they could have done a little bit different. I was talking about how I wish they put Leonard Fournette out wide with Mike Evans inside. I think they could have opened some things up a little bit. But yeah, offensive line struggled. They struggled to block. Receivers outside Mike Evans struggled. Brady, just struggled to have time. Obviously, defensively, they didn't seem like their normal selves. The Rams changed how the Bucs play. I thought it was a poorly coached defensive game by the Bucs. Talked about that in the recap. Just didn't really feel like themselves. But at the end of the game, maybe a little bit, except for that last play, giving up that big catch to Cooper Kupp to not go to overtime. To lose in regulation. But yeah, so they didn't really feel like themselves there. So the Bucs come in at 7. Packers offense didn't really feel like themselves. Their defense played better than themselves normally, even though they've been fine this year. They didn't give up a single offensive touchdown, so the Packers had that going for them defensively. But offensively, they scored on the first possession of the game. They looked dominant, but that was it. And they couldn't adjust to Devontae Adams being doubled. They couldn't adjust to the different looks the 49ers defense was getting them. They're usually very good at figuring out what the defense is throwing at them pre-snap. They couldn't figure that out. They just couldn't get much going. It's just another disappointing Packers playoff outing. It just doesn't look like, they're kind of like the Titans. I kind of were comparing the two the whole way this year. They had some similarities where their strengths were, where their weakness was at, and they had home field advantage. The 1 seed, they were the best 2 teams in the regular season, but now it feels like both of them are just regular season teams. They're not playoff teams, and we kind of can confirm that at this point. It kind of felt like that, but kind of thinking things don't really stay the same, do they? I guess we're wrong. They do. So just regular season teams here. I was impressed by the defense, though. And defense, except for giving up that 3rd and 7 at the end of Deebo Samuel, but it's not on the defense. So the Packers end the year disappointing. Both the 1 seed home field advantage teams are just one and done there. 1 game and out at home. Just rough. And the best team that lost was the Bills. I think that was pretty clear. Defense was disappointing. The defense didn't really surprise me. I was getting hyped in the Bills because they're a very good team, very good offense, but I was kind of talking about it. I don't think the Bills defense is quite as good as what we think they are. They're a very good defense. One of the probably, if you take the entire year, talk about consistency throughout the year, every game, every step of the way, probably the best defense in the year. I think take away the stats and what happened early year, I think we're talking about the Titans or the 49ers. The Bengals are the best defense, but Yeah, the Bills, just really struggled on defense. Just too much speed from the Chiefs. You see the cornerback. I've been talking about their weak at corner. No Tre'Davious White. That kind of showed itself. It was not a well-coached game by Leslie Frazier, but the players need to step up as well. They've been getting a lot more pressure. And when they did get pressure on Mahomes, he just escaped it very easily. So pretty bad defensive outing from the Bills. But that offense is one of the best in football. I mean, they even opened things up even more. Like before, they were one of the best, and it was just pretty much a downfield passing attack with some Josh Allen scrambles. And now they still have both of that, and they have designed Josh Allen runs. They have there's normal runs with their running backs and mainly Devin Singletary. And they're getting guys like Gabriel Davis getting going even more and more. I mean, he had a monster game. So there's just so much more to the Bills, and they still can't get the revenge. They were 13 seconds away. They still can't do it. It's a very good team. It's a very dangerous team. The defense kind of let us down a little bit there, but I mean that's the best of the teams. I mean it's not really what you want to hear if you're a fan that you're the best of the. It's the good part. You're the best of, but out of the teams eliminated. Now one of the top four best teams in football. How do we order them? I got to go the Bengals at 4. I'm a fan of this team. What they're doing. The signings they've made. I love me some Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, all these guys. Tyler, always been a big Tyler Boyd guy, big Jesse Bates guy. Starts the game in interception last game. It's a very dangerous team. I love where they're heading for the future. I'm going to put them at 4, though, because you got to find out what splits up. And this doesn't mean I'm picking the Chiefs or the Bengals. I talked about it. The Bengals kind of have the matchup over them. We saw it last time. They figured out in the second half. The Bengals, where does their offense thrive? When teams blitz, when they run cover 1 and cover 2. That is exactly the Chiefs' defense. So the Bengals kind of have a good matchup going for them against the Chiefs. So we'll see if that plays a factor. But, yeah, just looking at all these teams as a playoff team, as a potential Super Bowl team, I got to put the Bengals at 4, and it's just really one big thing splitting them up, and it's offensive line. The offensive line really, really struggled. And their defense won in the game. They clutched up, made plays because that's how good the defense is. But there was a lot of luck on their side in that game as well. I mean, the way they got dominated in the trenches, but it's a good team. They're able to overcome that. It's pretty rare. But that offensive line, will it hold up? You saw one guy being out was the difference for the Buccaneers, and a big reason why they lost their game against the Rams. Remember, the Bucs were favorites as well. So can that offensive line hold up there? Their defense looks great. They have a high-powered offense, but will Joe Burrow have time? So that's kind of that one thing that has the other teams ahead of them. And it's crazy, too, because the teams I have at 3 and 4, they very well could win because they have maybe the matchup advantage going into their title games here. I'm going to go 49ers at 3. I love the 49ers team. If I had to pick a team remaining, I don't care who wins the Super Bowl. I really don't. My team is the Minnesota Vikings, unfortunately. So I don't really care. I'm a guy, I want the right team to win, and the right team isn't determined right now. It's determined on the field, how teams will play. But if I had to choose kind of my favorite team to watch right now, my favorite team, probably the 49ers. I just love the way they play. They got some of the baddest, men in football on their team, well coached, adjust throughout the game, improve. I just really, Deebo Samuel might be my favorite player in football. Not a 49ers fan either. But they very good team. Obviously the top 3. I still think they do rely on the run a little bit. They can pass. They've had some clutch moments. They've passed. They could beat the Rams. They have their number. They've beat them several times. It's a team they can run the ball on. It's a defense. The 49ers defense can make. The defense is so good right now. It's getting better every week. But they do still rely on the run a little bit. Every week it seems like they're, guys are limping around. They're a little beat up, but they keep going back out and playing and making a big impact. Defensively, they're insane right now. So that's what they got going for them there. Can they stay consistent in the passing game to be that complete team? That's how they be that Super Bowl complete team. Execute in the passing game. Hey, 2 more games to do it. It's pretty possible. So the 49ers coming at 3. I actually got the Chiefs at 2 right now. A dominating win against maybe, the other best team in football, perhaps best team in the AFC, and the Bills. And this offense is electrifying. It's dominant. It's impossible to stop, even though what they're throwing at you. Patrick Mahomes is the best player remaining in the playoffs for sure. Maybe the best player in the NFL in general. So good against pressure. Such good awareness. Has the arm. Such a smart player. Has the legs as well. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, just absolutely dominant. I do worry about the defense a little bit, especially the secondary. How's Matthew doing after getting knocked out, concussion? They rely on the blitz a little bit with the passers. The offense is so damn good that they're so close to being number one here, but because that defense and relying on the blitz for pass rush, that is actually what splits to me. And just looking at the rosters, evaluating the teams, what splits up them and the Rams. The Rams are pretty damn close if you look at it all the way through. And it's why I have them at 1 right now. They are pretty damn close to perfect. I mean, it is on Stafford continuing to take care of the ball because he was a little inconsistent with the ball, a little sloppy with the ball during the regular season, and maybe what held them out of being the best team heading into the playoffs. But they have that downfield passing game. They have the collection of weapons that make defenses change the game. The Buccaneers had to blitz less because when you blitz, you're taking guys away from in coverage or wherever it may be, stopping the run. And they blitz less because they were like forgetting what their best part of their game was, the Buccaneers, which was blitz, because they were more worried. The Rams were in their head. They were more worried about them going downfield, them having the collection of weapons, and then that's why it was kind of not really funny, but why the Bucs blitzed on that last play, cover 0 blitz. But the Rams are in teams' heads with the collection of weapons, how they spread the field, how they air it downfield, but they're opening up more things. They're not just a straight drop back and air it downfield. They're getting the ball underneath. They're getting the ball underneath around the sideline. They're running the ball. They're opening up play action passes. Their offensive line is dominating. I mean, Andrew Whitworth was out, and Joseph Noteboom steps in and dominates a really good pass rush. So it feels like a team. Everyone coming together here defensively. I mean, their defensive line is nasty right now. They're winning in the trenches. They're putting Aaron Donald inside, outside. He's winning. Von Miller's looking like his old self. The two guys they acquired during the season, OBJ and Von Miller, are currently looking like their old selves, elite selves right now. Von Miller, elite performance against the Buccaneers. He's going. We know the secondary can make plays. I mean, they got just the next guy up making plays. Look at a guy like Nick Scott coming in here and making plays. And they're very good red zone defense as well. They get everything across the board. The only thing is if Stafford could take care of the ball. That's just really what it is, and he's doing a better job taking care of the ball. And why I think that is because they're opening up their playbook more. I think they had a strategy. I talked about it going into the playoffs. I didn't really predict this to happen, but I talked about they very easily could be this number 1 team, be the Super Bowl team, if they open it up more. And I was kind of thinking maybe McVay had a strategy the whole time, and that's kind of what I'm thinking now, that because they were kind of just a straight drop back team, nothing really fancy. I mean, they could air it downfield, they can make it look fancy, and it's a lot of just schemed up plays for Cooper Kupp, and there's still a lot of balls going to Cooper Kupp, but there's less plays schemed directly for one guy. They were calling one read plays before. Now it's not that, and that's making the defense. It's making the defense confused. It's making the defense. It's really hard for them to manage. They can run the ball. They struggle to run the ball against an elite run stopping defense in the Bucs, but they're keeping it in their heads like they might run the ball because it's what they want to do now. So I like that a lot, and I think that's a big reason why Stafford's playing a little better. And he's been great this year, even though he's turned the ball over. But it's not predictable anymore because teams were like, all right, it's probably going to stare at Cooper Kupp here on a one read play. It's just a straight drop back. We all know it's a pass. So they're becoming less predictable and opening some things up, which makes. In a way, one read plays are easier on the quarterback, but you're going to take care of the ball better when you let the guy go do his thing here, and that's what they're doing. So that's what I like about the Rams. But, I think they're the number 1 playoff team right now because, like I said, I think they're the most complete team in the way they play on the field, the way they're executing right now, what they're showing us. But the matchup's a different story. They cannot beat the 49ers. They lost 6 straight to them. The Rams do a good job stopping a run, but the 49ers are a team that could just somehow run on them. And the 49ers had that defense to stop them. So maybe that just specific matchup stops them from, at the end of the year, being the true number 1 team. That's very possible. Or maybe the 7th time's the charm or the 3rd time's the charm this year against 49ers. It's going to be very exciting. That's why I love the matchups, actually, in the playoffs, because I think if you just evaluate the teams, I think the Rams and the Chiefs are the better ones. But if you evaluate the matchups, look at the matchups, I think it's 49ers and Bengals. So that's why it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So curious to see who pulls it off in these games. It's going to be whoever, executes the best, whoever takes care of the ball the best. So We'll see. We'll have you covered with our playoff picks and more this week. We have off-season content already on the channel recently, free agency videos, draft videos, and there's definitely more to come. We got some good ones planned this week and the upcoming weeks. We got you covered fully here at the Goat House. So join us, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Follow our Twitter. Very, very important. There's a link pinned in the comments for that, along with some other important things. Check it out. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.